Do you ever find yourself moving so fast from one thing to the next, only to realize that time has flown by and you're not even sure what you got done? When we are in a busy season, this can happen a lot. We move from one thing to the next, working hard to check one more thing off of that long to do list. But are we even asking ourselves, should I be working on this particular task? Is it a good task to focus on, or am I just doing it for the satisfaction of crossing it off my list? What if instead we paused, thought for a moment before creating our to do list? What if we paused and took time to consider our goals, our priorities, and values before creating that to do list? If we did, I bet we'd create an intentional to do list instead of frantically writing down whatever is on our mind and feels urgent right now. Let me ask you this. What if we paused just to pause, to lift our heads up from producing and getting things done, to lifting our heads up, looking around, appreciating where we are right now, and taking stock of how far we've come, and more importantly, look at the beauty all around us that we're probably missing. In today's episode, I want to talk about why we need to practice pausing in our lives and in our businesses. Hello there, and welcome to the Sela Entrepreneur Podcast, where we take a look at doing online business a little differently for women over 50. I'm your host, Marta Gertson, entrepreneur and business owner since 2008, and for far too long, I struggled with trying to figure out what I wanted to be when my business and I grew up. I was tired of buying all the courses and downloading all the freebies, all in the hope that the answer I was longing for would suddenly appear. Turns out, clarity doesn't come in an instant. It's a journey of discovery and finding answers layer by layer. As I took action, I learned what type of work I really loved to do, who I had fun serving, and the problems I loved to help them solve. That clarity gave me the confidence to start designing a simple, sustainable business that I could steward well, and I'd love to help you do the same. If you're ready to find the clarity you're longing for, then you're in the right place. Let's take this journey of discovery together. Here's a common theme I hear a lot in the conversations I have with both my coaching and website clients. I've been so busy trying to get it all done, I didn't even think about it first. You are asking me questions I hadn't even considered. Or I've been so busy I haven't paused long enough to even think about anything other than what's right in front of me. I know when I hear that, I can relate to that. When I'm in a hectic season of life or business, when I don't take the time to do a weekly review of my goals and my calendar and how I want to spend my time, I get to the end of the week and wonder, what did I even work on? How did I spend my time? I felt so busy and productive, but why do I feel so behind? And why are there so many things left on my to-do list? It's times like these I need to remember, and I remind my clients, it's time to practice pausing. Growing up, we're taught a few things. When you're really angry, take a breath and think about making a reply before you say something you will regret. If we are working on building better money habits, we are told to pause and wait and think about that purchase before we do an impulse buy. When we're learning to drive, we're taught what a stop sign is. We're supposed to stop, look around, look up, check the traffic around us, and not just speed through the intersection. So why don't we do this in business? Why aren't we taught that? Why are we not taught that about productivity? Why are we not taught that about our marketing? Why are we not talking about that when we're talking about building boundaries for as we serve our clients, or boundaries on how we operate our business? I want you to consider this quote. It's from Oliver Burkeman, author of the book 4,000 Weeks, Time Management for Mortals. If you try to find time for your most valued activities by first dealing with all the important demands on your time, in the hope there'll be some left over at the end, you'll be disappointed. I'd like to share a quick story with you. This week, we had gorgeous morning weather on our morning walk down the beach. We don't always get to the beach each week, but this morning I was just pulled to the beach. It was gorgeous weather. The sun was out. There was a few clouds, and we got to the beach. We're walking down, and it ended up being t-shirt weather. And that does not normally happen here on the South Central Oregon coast. It's pretty rare, especially in the mornings. It's usually chilly, and I usually have to have some sort of coat or some sort of layers. But this morning, I had to shrug off my flannel jacket, which of course the dogs took total advantage of. When they can see that my attention is directed elsewhere, I think they see it as an opportunity to weave themselves around my legs, and then the leash gets tangled around my leg, and I think they're trying to trip me up, but who knows? But we didn't have as much time as usual to go for a longer walk, but it was so nice, and I just couldn't resist heading down the beach to see what we could see. The sun was out, actually warmish for one. Few people were walking around. The tide was in. It really was beautiful. When we visit this particular beach, there are a few landmarks I have in mind. So, one, I can kind of gauge how far we've gone and maybe when it's time to turn back. And then all of a sudden it hit me. Why? What was I trying to accomplish? What did I feel like I needed to accomplish? Yes, the dogs need their exercise, and so do I, but why am I trying to hit a specific length of time on such a spectacularly gorgeous day? Why was my head down, focused on the ground, or focused on those landmarks I was trying to reach? Why was I not taking this amazing moment to pause and enjoy and just soak in the beauty and this rare moment on the Oregon coast? Why was I not enjoying it? What was I trying to accomplish? So I had to stop. We took a breather and I just sat down to watch and enjoy this absolutely beautiful day. I wish I could tell you what kind of birds I saw, but that morning I saw these amazing birds flying around, and I could tell that they were hunting. But then all of a sudden they would just angle into a steep dive and then land on the top of the water briefly and come back up with a silver fish caught in their talons. I even saw a seal just kind of moseying around, surfing the waves, and then diving down, probably to grab his own breakfast. And the sun was out warming us. The dogs weren't panting like crazy. I wasn't too hot, and the wind was just a gentle breeze. I would have missed all of this if I hadn't taken the time to sit, to pause, to just breathe, to just be, to look up and look around. It really was quite amazing. As I watched the birds, they weren't rushing around frantically. They were taking their time to find the right wind current. They were using their sharp eyes to spot their target and then suddenly dive in to grab their food. And the seal was just being a seal. He was coming up from air. He was surfing the waves. You could actually see his silhouette in the wave as it crested, and then he would disappear. Not hurried, not rushed. He was just doing his thing. We need to pause in our business too. In a recent email newsletter, the writer reminded me that to-do lists do not and should not own us, that we need to get okay with not getting everything done and instead embrace the freedom of choice. We get to choose what gets our time and attention. We get to decide what to work on, what will move us toward our goals. Isn't that the reason we started our businesses in the first place, to have time and flexibility in our day? There are a lot of benefits to pausing, and we don't need a long time to pause. A pause can be a moment, a few moments. Of course, it can be longer. But often we just need time enough to do a quick check-in and ask a few questions. Is what I'm working on in alignment with my goals, values, and priorities? Am I filling my to-do list with things that will move me forward towards my goals and the vision I have for my business? Or am I filling with items that make me feel productive? Am I making intentional decisions about my schedule or making those decisions based on fear? Until we practice the habit of pausing, we won't know. We won't know if we are reacting to the moment or reacting to an opportunity. We won't know if we're reacting to an inspired idea. We won't know if we're reacting to a prompting on our hearts. We won't know if we're hearing that still small voice, or is this just an outside noise distracting us? Developing a habit of pausing helps us build awareness, discernment, and intentional decision-making skills. Without learning how to pause, we don't realize how much we are missing, how much is passing us by because our heads are down focused on doing the next thing on our list. I want to challenge you to take some time to pause today. I'd like to encourage you to stop and pause just for a moment or two. In fact, I'm challenging you to pause and take a moment to pause every day this week. To pause. Take a deep breath. Lift your head up and look around. Write out a gratitude list. Sit down with a favorite drink and just be, without the to-do list, without a computer even. I know, wild concept. Remember, if I hadn't taken a moment to sit and pause on this walk down the beach, I would have missed so much. I wouldn't have seen these incredible birds hunting. I wouldn't have seen the seal just being a seal. And I wouldn't have really appreciated this rare, calm morning on our beach. When you hear yourself saying, I don't know what to do, I'm so busy I can't think straight, This is a great time to pause and practice pausing. So please, today, won't you take a few minutes, or again, maybe go wild and do it every day this week, to pause, to enjoy the moment, to lift your head up and look around, to take a deep breath and appreciate where you're at, how far you've come, what you have already accomplished, and not worry about the next thing on your to-do list. Just take a moment and practice pausing. Will you do that today for yourself and for your business? Thanks for joining me. I hope you found some clarity or an aha moment that inspires you to take some action today. Before you go, could I ask a favor? I would really appreciate it if you could take a few seconds and leave a review of this show in the Apple Podcast app. Your review really does make an impact and helps spread the word about this show and gets it in the hands of other women who are looking to build simple and sustainable businesses of their own. Until next time.